Well, all right. Hi. I'm
Hi.
John Hartmann. I am the digital editor for US Chess, and I am here today with the brand new 2020 US Cadet Champion, Christopher Yoo. Christopher, how are you?
Good.
How do you feel about winning this pretty prestigious title?
Very good, I guess.
It's a silly question, I know. I'm really glad you decided you were able to take some time to talk to me today about the event. So I guess we're just going to talk about, what you did to get ready, what it was like to play online, and then you have very graciously agreed to look at some key moments from the games with us.
Okay, sure.
So let's just sort of dive in. So you've been playing quite a few big events online and training online too, right?
Yeah.
So what sorts of, I know you played in what was it, Sunway Sitges? That was, I think, the first, one of the first big online classical tournaments, and you played in that.
Yeah.
And you wrote about that for us, right?
Yeah.
It was a pretty nice story. If you want to go back and look at the US Chess Archives, we'll put it up linked to this article. But after that, I know you've been doing a lot of training over the summer as well. What have you
Yeah,
been
I
doing
took
to get
a
ready?
took a lot of
Okay. Who were the camps with, and what were you studying?
I took some with girlfriend and Kramnik. It was honestly a variety of random topics, positional chess, endgames, calculation. Not one thing in particular. Kind
So,
of.
what was it like to work with? I mean, players like Gelfand and Kramnik, and
I don't know, I think I learned a lot of positional chess. They're both pretty positional so- players, I guess.
was there anything in particular that you sort of remember that just sort of was like an eye opener for you?
Yes, there's this one camp that the main topic was not doing much, but just shuffling your pieces, and your opponent can collapse himself. You don't have to force anything. That kind of stuck with me because I hadn't thought about it that way before.
And that, I think that actually, when we look at your game with Justin Wang, I think that's really
That
kind of,
was relatively inspired by it.
yeah, no, I mean, brilliant win. You ground him down, and I think our viewers are going to be excited to see that. So yeah, so you did these camps and you played online. Did you do any specific preparation for this tournament?
I guess I prepped a lot of different openings I haven't generally played before. I try to get comfortable with a lot of different structures, I guess, and that way nobody really expected what the openings I played.
Yeah,
I was generally better prepared.
okay. Yeah, you definitely played some. I was going to say strange, but they're not really strange. They're just a little offbeat. And there were
Yeah,
a lot
the
of these variations too. I saw people were playing like B3 Sicilians and all sorts of sidelines against the French, and uh, it seemed like everybody was trying to mix everybody up.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look at some of the games. I'm going to share my screen, and that should do it. There's chess base. Where is? Okay. Can you see my chessboard now?
Yes.
Okay. So this was your round one game with Andrew Hong, and let me set this up a little bit better here. Make this a little bigger. Perfect. Um,
Can you flip the board? I'm
yep.
looking
I
at
was
it.
good. Yeah, I had. We were talking about a position before we started recording, and so I'd flipped it so that Christopher could take a look. Yeah, I wanted to talk about this position because already on move four, you're sort of really getting into the weeds here. What's the inspiration behind bishop to e2?
Um, Not much inspiration, just something I looked at. Also, this person doesn't usually play 1e5, so I was not really expecting it. He probably only looked at the games where I played a Roy Lopez, so I thought since he isn't very experienced, this would definitely catch him off guard. He
That
might not
make
be familiar with the ideas.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so it was interesting. The game sort of progresses.
He kind of tried to force something for no reason. He could have just played the solid d5 instead. Bishop. I kind of felt he might do something like that since he's a very dynamic player.
Ah, okay. So,
But
what were you thinking he could have played
d5,
right
yeah,
here?
yeah. I don't know. There's some kind of theory. This is really no advantage for white.
Okay.
E takes d5, knight takes d5. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like some sort of
Kind
um
of Scott structure, I guess.
yeah, except almost reversed. Yeah. Um yeah, so I was curious because I was looking at this, and of course, I'm not nearly as strong as you guys, but it was interesting to sort of look at this position and think, it seems like it's very symmetrical. It's basically even to me. It just looks like the only advantage you have is the bishops.
Yeah, I was very happy though. That seems quite a big advantage.
That is true. Yeah, when you get to be a strong player, a lot of people are very enamored with the bishops, and with good reason. So yeah, the game kind of progressed. I wanted to talk about where was it? This position.
Ah,
So yeah, so this seemed to be where maybe Andrew maybe let you get a real advantage.
no, the position is already a real advantage.
Oh, okay.
Also, the fact that Andrew has 30 seconds, it's very hard to play.
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't.
I was already thinking that I'm definitely gonna win the game here.
Wow.
He
Okay.
definitely lost the thread because he had 1 minute and I have five, and
Mm.
I didn't see a way for him to defend the pawn. And if there is a way, it's very hard to find.
So yeah, the time control for this tournament was what, game 70 with a 10-second increment. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
it's it's not quite rapid chess, but it's definitely speedier. So yeah, I mean the engine gives rook e6, right? And then if you take, then it thinks that it's holdable for black, but that's kind of a hard move to see.
yeah. Honestly, if you can go back, I think his biggest practical mistake was rook e4. That allowed my queen to get. That allowed me to throw in queen f5 check and queen c8 check.
Ah, okay. So rook e4
If
was
he
a
played a waiting move like rook e7, it's dead equal, dead equal. Nothing is happening.
okay. Yeah, so rook e4 is imprecise. You're right, that does let you improve your queen quite a bit. And then yeah, he just has to find some tricky moves, and he didn't. So you were able
Yeah,
to get off to a good start. Knight e6. Yeah, knight f4 kind of looks as is a lemon, but as you say, he was in pretty serious time trouble.
yeah,
So, and then after this, it's pretty much just cleaning up. So, nice win for you to get off the mark, and then game two against Ru Yang Yan, and you played the French, and I was really happy to see you play the French because I'm a French player. Uh,
Oh, I mean, I played it against her because I felt she's definitely good at dynamics, but she isn't good at these types of close positions where not much is happening.
so, how did you look at her games before the tournament to try to get a sense of that, or?
Yeah, I mean, she only has chess.com games, but
Ah, okay. So wow, the secret is out. You're looking at chess.com games. All right. Um,
um,
I think everybody does. So yeah, so a bit of a sideline in the win hour. So this B6 line, and already I think the way she played it. I mean, this is
I mean, I knew Queen G4 was the best move, but I didn't expect her to manage this position, play this position well. It's definitely a lot of complex strategical ideas, but I felt that she would overextend herself with something like f4, f5, or something, and kind of mess up the position. So that was kind of why I played this line.
okay. Yeah. I think already by here, this looks like a very nice version of a typical French position. And as you say, later on she did play. One of the key moments seemed to be this move 18 where she played f4.
Yeah, I was honestly not very surprised. It's very much in her style to push pawns like that.
Okay. Yeah, and this gave you a nice roost for the night. And here you pick up a pawn and you do a very nice job of, uh, getting nursing this advantage. Was it h5? I really like that. Seems like a good move.
Not exactly, but
I'm sorry.
it got quite crazy later in the game.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess what happened. I mean, we can go to the sort of key position here. So you got to this position, and do you remember what the clock times were like?
We both had a minute.
Oh
I
my
was,
goodness.
I mean, of course, I'm never gonna lose this position, but I was relatively concerned because I want I was trying to play on both sides of the board, try to keep her king away from my pawns. But
Right.
if it's really a flip of a coin, just based on intuition and luck, whether I
Yeah.
draw or
Yeah.
lose.
I mean, I suspect in a perfect world, this is well. I mean, it should be drawn. I mean, that's what the table bases tell us. But yeah, this is with a minute left, this is really really hard to hold. And you did a good job of just sort of keeping pressure on and making her find the best moves. And then eventually, and we'll just sort of go all the way down. Well, let's just go to the key position. We could spend all day here. Yeah, there's only King E3 is a move that loses. And you must have been very very low on the clock at this point.
Yeah, I was pretty happy that I got my pawns to B4 and G4. Even though I felt that she can draw, I was felt that she would be nervous because my pawns are that far away.
Yeah, it's I can imagine how nerve wracking and pressure filled this would be. So yeah, so in the game she played King E3. Turns out King D3 or King D5 both draw, but King E3
Yeah,
loses.
you're counterintuitively moving away from my G pawn, so that's
Yeah,
very hard to play.
it's again, this is the sort of thing that would take quite a while. Well, it would take me quite a while to figure out if I were able to figure it out. But yeah, King D3 does seem to
Okay,
hold.
still, do I have King D7, Knight C6. You have to find a lot more moves to draw. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
endless.
No, it's not simple. No.
Yeah.
But this is a really there's a nice variation here the way it ended up in the game. So King E3, King D7, Knight C6, very nice, and that'll come back later too. King C3, and then Knight C6. Yeah, a very nice find, especially with no time on the clock. I mean,
I've seen a lot of it's a typical idea in these knight endgames. Sack the knight and then the knight is not in checking distance on C6, so
yeah, this ended up very nicely. Could this be part of a study for you someday?
I probably already made a study related to this.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
if I were white, I would probably play knight b7 after knight c6, but then there's a nice move for black. It's not the only winning move, but I think I after knight b7, knight c6, knight b7, right? Tricky move.
oh okay. Knight
Knight
B7.
b7. I can't play b3 because knight c5, pretty much.
Okay,
b2, knight a4.
right. So then what do
So
you have to play?
I thought I had to play king d4. I feel like there's probably another win, so knight d6 or something. Um, b3, knight b5, king d3. Um, I mean, this is definitely white's best practical try. Let's say king f4, just a random move. White has nothing to do. Knight
Okay.
d4, knight a3, b2. And if white plays any random king move like king e5, I can play knight b5.
Ah, yeah, another deflection.
But you just need to keep shouldering the knight off.
Wow, that's a nice variation.
And I mean, it's by no means forced. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other ways to win.
Yeah, but no, I think this sort of gives the some one of the main themes of the position. This is very nice. So
Yeah,
so
I don't know. I've seen. Wait, what? Sorry.
go. No, I was gonna say go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean, I guess I've seen a lot of these endgames in Derevsky endgame manual, so I was very confident that I would just win this. I just saw all these ideas, so I could immediately tell she isn't going to be able to stop my pawn.
So with quick time controls like this, do you think it's? I mean, how important do you think it is to know a book like Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, or like to know it cold? Um, is it critical, or is it just are there a limited number of positions you think you need to know, or?
I really don't think I really don't think it's any less or more critical than like 90 plus 30 or whatever.
Okay.
It's
Oh, just because, yeah. Anytime you have I guess you have a sudden death time control. I guess there's all or a single time control, even with increment. You're at some point you're always going to be playing on the clock.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's good to know your end games in general. I don't think it's more important than one time control.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, so you're at 2 out of 2 now. So let's actually I'm gonna well there we go. The next round was a draw with Christopher Shen. Yeah, you ended up in sort of
Yeah,
another sort of sideline Sicilian position, and you ended up
yeah,
in a major piece ending where he had the D pawn, the Isolani, but he was up a pawn. But yeah, this you just had a lot of pressure, and it just sort of ended up being
everything trades off.
yeah, and there's nothing really to do. So
And he just sat on his position. I was hoping that he would try to commit to something, but he seems to know his positional chess well, so I couldn't really do anything.
yeah, so 2.5 out of 3, not too shabby. And then yeah, there was this fascinating game with Robert Chelachenko. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, but yeah, I wanted to talk about this key position right here.
I didn't feel that this is a key position. I thought the whole entire game was a key position, but this was one of the easiest decisions of the game.
Okay, so talk us through it. So when I asked you about this ahead of time, because I was curious about the almost the sort of forcing line continuation after this move, and I asked you how much of this you had seen or how much of this you had anticipated, and you said really this wasn't something you calculated in advance, that you played the next move basically on purely positional grounds.
Yes, because okay, here I want to play on the light squares because my opponent is just gonna have a dark square bishop. If I move my queen back and they take my c6 bishop, they can play on the light squares, and I don't have a light square bishop or whatever. I want to play on the squares that I'm strong on.
Okay.
So I want to play on the light squares because they're weak on the dark the dark the because they only have a dark square bishop pretty much. So
Okay.
that was my logic, I guess.
Okay. So yeah. So you took, and then the reason when I was looking at this, I was so enamored with this is that after what looks like a relatively, I don't know if it's completely forcing, but it's
Yeah.
relatively forcing. Then you have these.
I bothered to calculate the line after I took the g2 bishop.
Okay. So then yeah. So then knight f5. All right. So hitting the loose bishop, and then bishop f4, and then this beautiful knight d4 move.
Yeah.
It's aesthetically very pleasing to see that. Of course, he can't take it because then the queen hangs. So yeah, so queen c4 and then knight f3 check, and you pick up material. Yeah, nice. I mean, even to see that after bishop g2 is pretty nice. Although, again, at your level and the level this tournament was being played at, I suppose it's
Yeah. I wanted to be practical. It just seemed like positionally the only move, but
okay.
I don't know. It was much more positional minded decision there.
So now, so 3.5 out of 4. Now you had black against Arthur Go. Is that I mean I'm probably mispronouncing. And again, we get to one of these end games that is
This is not equal, I think.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
practically speaking, not equal, no. But
Even the engine says it's like -1 for black.
well, we can take a look.
Unless you run it to depth 50 and the engine finds 50 only moves or something. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, you have to sort of find this idea, this sacrificing the c6 pawn, which is kind of counterintuitive, I think.
Also, you have to shuffle your pieces for like 50 moves in precise manner.
Yeah.
This is gonna be an easy draw when engines play it, but I would feel like resigning as white or something because it's just such a tough position to play.
Yeah, this is actually it's funny. So I know you have done some work with Jakob Aagaard, and he's actually, I'm editing right now an article that he wrote for us for Chess Life, talking about exactly this sort of phenomenon where you have to differentiate between what the engine tells you and what is really practical for human players. So yeah, the engine says this is equal, but it's very, very tricky. And as we said, so king d3, king e6, and then as it turns out, the only way to draw.
And also after c6, I saw the move and I wanted to play king to d6 to keep the c4 square covered.
Okay.
Um,
And then yeah, and then
bishop c5, bishop. Oh, that's nice.
yeah, that's the tricky move. Yeah,
This is a fortress. Wow.
yeah.
Because king takes c6, bishop b4, knight c4, king e4, a5, bishop f8. That's a fortress. You bring your bishop back and forth on the f8, a3 diagonal, and whenever the king goes to d7, king d5. Wow. I think the position. Wait. Okay, this might be a bit over your head, but okay. Knight c4, king e4, a5, bishop f8, and I believe this position is neutral Zugzwang.
Wow.
Let's double check with the engine. You
Sure.
should probably do it as black to move, and then white to move.
I'll put the null move in. So yeah, black to move.
Draw. So okay,
and then let's
now
insert a null move.
Yep, I'm right.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Okay, if you ever move your bishop off the f8 diagonal, king d6, king e6, and your king is and then knight d6, king d5, some kind of long plan. So bishop e7 is the critical move.
Yeah, so bishop e7.
And this is the reason why it's Zugzwang. King d7 comes with a tempo on the f8 bishop, and then you can bring your king to e6.
Yeah.
So it actually is mutual Zugzwang. That's very nice.
Yeah, so this is but again another, and this seems like a theme for you in this tournament, is that you got end games again where both of you probably were in some sort of time trouble, and you managed to win them using excellent technique.
Yeah, I mean I was always on the comfortable side of these end games, which was very nice.
That's always a nice thing. Yeah, it just sort of felt like here this bishop just had no prospects, and
yeah.
So this was a nice sort of clean win after this point. But
yeah.
So again, so now this is at round 5, and you were at 4.5 out of 5, correct?
Yeah.
And so then we get to this key game that you sent me a lot of annotations to. This game with Justin Wang. So where should we pick it up? Where should we take? Should we start from the beginning, or should we just go to the end game?
Okay, let's start early, middle game. Maybe move 20.
Okay. Yeah. So in this position, you said Black is desperately seeking counterplay due to his lack of development and weak king. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, queen takes b7. So he gives up this pawn.
This is
go ahead.
Again a lot related to the concept that he doesn't have a dark square bishop to protect any of his dark squares. So that's quite a big issue.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, all right. So queen takes, rook b8, queen a7, rook b6. And so again, so this is something you must have calculated in advance, correct?
Oh, I didn't really calculate rook b6 much. I was calculating queen d2 more. Rook b6 is not a very forcing move.
Okay, so queen
doesn't really threaten anything.
So this is interesting because I'm an A player on a good day. So my first thought was, oh, wait a minute, my queen is a little short of squares here. I'm going to need to be careful. But that didn't worry you at all.
When I first saw this move, I was almost jumping off my chair because I didn't consider it.
Okay, yeah. So the knight d5, and then rook f7, with the idea, of course, if queen takes. So
I was jumping off my chair the most when I saw rook f7.
Well, yeah, because then you had this lovely move. Yeah, so rook takes f5.
Yeah, that's why now my rook on f4 can not be forked with queen d2.
So yeah, queen d2, rook f1. And so we keep, swapping pawns, and we get to this sort of position. And in the notes you said you feel like you should have kept the pawn on b3 as it's much harder to attack.
Yeah, because with the pawn on b4, black can play rook e7, rook e4, but there's no such thing as rook e7, rook e3 or something.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, so how did you evaluate your chances in this position?
Great. I was actually quite upset after I played b4 when I realized my b pawn is falling. If I had just exchanged my b pawn for his f pawn, I would just have the same endgame up a pawn, which is
Okay.
just so much better than the game. So I
Yeah.
was kind of biting myself for that.
So as it turned out, so b4, and then he's got this idea, right?
Yeah.
You give h3 as an improvement.
Yeah, it's not easy to find. The
No.
point, okay, the variation is interesting.
So rook e4, b5, rook
So
e5.
it's sort of a situation where the rook keeps chasing the pawn, but it's kind of deflected off of the e5 square, where then I can use the e file.
Ah, yeah, that makes
And the
sense.
reason why I play h3 is because I can play king h2.
Right. Yeah, you got to give yourself a little space. So yeah, so b5. So you played b5, and that does give up the pawn.
Yeah, I still have a good position, but it's getting very concrete.
h6, queen h4.
I still had some rook e1 move. It's very difficult when you can just take f5 with check.
Yeah, it's. I mean, talking about practical, and again, how much time do you think you had here?
I like 20 minutes.
Okay, so you had some time. And how much did Justin have? Do you know?
Maybe similar?
Okay, so neither of you were in crazy time trouble here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So queen takes f5, natural. Yeah. And this is interesting. So when I read these notes, you said, okay, you said I was doing nothing for the next 20 moves because I wanted to tire him out. Um, it can be a quite effective strategic idea when your opponent has no plan.
Yeah.
I like that. That is modern practical chess right there.
I
So
wouldn't call it modern. I think that's existed for a long time.
so let's see. So a lot of dancing, and then I guess we'll just go here. So after a whole bunch of checks, you made a pawn move.
Yeah, I mean, I did it since I noticed he was getting low on time. So
Okay. So
thought
yeah,
it would be a good time to start doing something.
and yeah. So rook b7, you say is a little bit of a mistake,
Yeah.
and then you play. So the queen gets in a bit. King g7, rook e4, queen b1. And yeah, so h5 you think is an improvement, but it's probably still a little bit harder to defend, you say, because of the.
The h5 is another weakness. Like,
Yeah.
pawn is just better placed on h7.
So queen d1, queen h6, h5. Rook
And
f.
now it's already only moves for black to defend. If he had found queen a1, it's still holdable.
How likely do you think that is? I mean, how easy is that sort of move to find, do you think?
I don't know, but if you just gave him this position, if he's not being put under pressure for the last 65 moves or something, maybe he would probably find it. But when you're under pressure for that long with no time and all the pressure, it's extremely hard to find
Yeah, yeah.
such.
So yeah, so queen a1 would have held with best play, but so he played rook f7 again instead. And now you have this sort of nice piece reconfiguration: queen f5, queen
Yeah.
e2, rook e4.
Rook e4 is nice finesse because otherwise he can try to trade queens with queen e5 or something. No.
So then
Now,
after this, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, now I think it's just completely losing for black.
Yeah, so let's sort of see how you finish it off here. So queen d1, rook h4, queen c7. Trying to trade queens. You're not going to let him do it.
Yeah.
And at this point, both of you were in time pressure, obviously.
Yeah, and My position is 100 times easier to play.
That makes all the difference when in situations like this. Queen e6. Did you think at all about trading? I mean, I think not trading the queens is definitely the right move. Did you think about it at all, or was that just
No, no,
no?
no, no. Um,
It's interesting because I think a lot of our viewers might think, oh, I've got 2 pawns against one. I'll trade the queens and I'll win that ending.
yeah. I mean, but it's theoretical draw actually.
That's what I was going to say. I think it ends up being a theoretical draw. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is this is keeping the queens on when you're putting pressure on somebody also makes a lot of practical sense.
Meanwhile, if I get to a pawn endgame, I think I'm winning. So I was thinking about trading the rooks and the queens.
Okay.
Sure.
So yeah, so queen b3.
Yeah, this was very satisfying because now that my queen has maneuvered itself to c4, I can actually fork his king and rook.
Yeah, this was a nice way to finish. So king f8, and then queen c8, and very nice.
Yeah.
So all right, so this is round 6. So you're at 5.5 out of 6.
Yeah.
So did you already have the event kind of wrapped up at this point, or did you?
Yeah.
So you were leading by what? By a point and a half or by a point?
I think by a point and a half.
Okay. So then you had that one last game with Max Liu, and yeah, again, sort of a slightly offbeat opening.
Yeah. It's probably not a great choice just going into this endgame.
Yeah.
I was very worn out.
This was the 7th game you had played in 3 days, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot. Yeah. So yeah, so this is a position then, and again, so you've already wrapped up the event, but of course you want to finish on a good note.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were a couple points that were kind of interesting, and we'll put all the games.
This endgame is really hard to make any winning chances.
Yeah.
I was happy to save it near the end. I was really concerned about losing this.
Where about here? Or somewhere in here, you think?
No, go back. It's when he first won my pawn. Pretty much around here I was getting really nervous because I can't go into the pawn endgame and I'm just down the pawn.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simplified. So.
And again, the ubiquitous time pressure was probably kicked in here, right?
I honestly didn't have that much time pressure. I was moving relatively quickly.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have that much time pressure either. I mean, just some end game where not much was happening the whole entire game.
Yeah. But you managed to hold it.
Yeah.
And so that ended up you ended up with 6 points out of 7, right?
Yeah.
So you cleared the field by a point and a half.
Yeah.
A very nice dominating win. So yeah, so now that you're the cadets champion, and that comes with a scholarship, correct?
Yeah.
College is probably a little ways away for you, but do you have any thoughts about where you would like to be applying or anything like that?
Not really. I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to college or not. A lot of that depends on the objective situation of my chess and if I can make a career out of it realistically.
Okay. Yeah, that's that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, and so we get to this. We should see this here. Nice drawn position. Good defense.
Yeah.
Nice way to wrap up a tournament. All right, so so Christopher, what is next for you?
Oh, I guess I have the U.S. Junior Championship in a couple of weeks. It's online. That's
Okay.
a very big tournament.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's a big deal. So the time control for that is it's rapid chess, right? So it's like game 25.
Yeah, pretty fast.
Okay. How do you rate your chances in that field? It's a tough field. I mean, Jeffrey Yang is in there, and Sam Sevian in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the murderer's row.
Hope for the best. I don't know how I rate my chances.
Okay. Well, we will be watching. We'll be doing updates daily, and maybe if you get a chance, we can check in with you and ask how you're doing.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, Christopher, thank you so much. Congratulations
Thank
on the
you.
big win. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And
Hey,
we appreciate it.
thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.